There's a specific kind of person who never seems rattled. Not calm, not even zen, just unreachable. They smile at the right times, say the right things, but you get the sense they are playing a game you didn't know existed. And the strangest part, they've been playing this game since they were a kid. Maybe even before they knew what the game was. His real name is Sean Carter, popularly known as Jay-Z. I'm a big fan, shout out to us. He's been in the public eye for over 30 years now, and in that time, he has never really lost. Not in a way most people lose. Yes, I get it. Some albums didn't always hit, businesses stumbled here and there, but he's never been trapped, never been cornered, and never had his back against the wall without already knowing his way out. Which, if you think about it, is kind of suspicious. That is not luck, and it is not just talent either. It is something else, something psychological, something most people mistake for confidence or intelligence. It might be both, but weaponized. We'll be talking about the psychology behind Jay-Z's billion-dollar empire, and this video will be divided into 5 chapters, so make sure you lock in. Let's go. Chapter 1. The conditioning. Jay-Z grew up in massive projects in Brooklyn in the 1980s. When Sean was about 12 years old, he watched his uncle and the older kids move products on the corner. And here is what matters. He's not just watching what they do, he's watching what happens when they mess up. He sees who gets caught, who gets played, who talks too much, and who trusts the wrong person. And that to me is building silent power. He sees his own father walk out when he's 11 with no explanation, no warning, just gone. His dad lost his own brother to violence, got lost in grief, then addiction, and one day he decided he couldn't do it anymore, so he left. Most kids in that situation develop fear or anger, maybe both, but Jay-Z developed something different: information obsession. If you can't trust people, you trust patterns instead. You start cataloging who's reliable, who is desperate, and who is lying. What words mean versus what they actually mean when someone is trying to survive. By the time he's a teenager, he's already running a small operation, not because he's ruthless, but because he's a collector of information, leverage, and contingencies. And honestly, that's just smart if you grew up where he did. Here is the thing about growing up in an environment where one wrong move ends you. You don't learn confidence, you learn predictive control. You learn to see 3 steps ahead because 2 steps ahead gets you killed or arrested or even keeps you broke. There's this story he tells about memorizing an entire verse, not writing them down, but keeping everything in his head. On the surface, people thought it was about skill, about being impressive, and sure, maybe it was partially that, but think about what it actually means. If nothing is written down, nothing can be found, nothing can be used against you, and nothing exists outside your control. That is not artistry, or at least not just artistry. This is what I call operational security. He saw what happened to people who stayed in the game too long. They relaxed, made mistake, and trusted the wrong person. Some didn't make it out alive, others disappeared into prison for decades. He also watched his mother work non-stop, multiple jobs, always tired and carrying everything while the system slowly wore her down. Watching all of that, something settled into him, a way of thinking and a way of surviving that says, never be dependent, never be predictable, and never give anyone enough information to anticipate your next move. Chapter 2. The structure. In 1996, Reasonable Doubt drops. It didn't explode, no platinum plagues, and no chart domination. It moves quietly, more of whispers than screams. But Jay-Z isn't worried because while everyone was watching the numbers, he had already made a move almost no one noticed. He didn't sign a typical record deal. Instead, he helped start Rockefeller Records with Damon Dash and Karim Book. He kept ownership and control. At the time, people thought it was ego or inexperience, or maybe both. But back then, there was only one real path. You are being signed to a major label. They give you radio, distribution, and marketing. That was the price of being heard. But Jay-Z had seen how that story usually ended. He watched artists blow up, then get stripped, watched them go broke while their music kept making someone else money. MC Hammer lost everything. TLC filed for bankruptcy while their label cashed in. So Jay-Z chose a different structure. And this is the part people miss. Most 26 years old with a major label offer will take it. The validation, the machine behind you, and the feeling that you had made it. But Jay-Z said no, not because he didn't want success, but because he was already thinking past it. If a label owns your masters, they own your future. Every play, every sale, and every decade from now, they profit from you. You are just borrowing your own work. And this is where the psychology shifts. Most people chase success. Jay-Z was trying to avoid dependence. He understood something most people learn too late. Real power is never letting someone else decide what happens to you. That's not ambition, that's survival. Cleaned up and wearing a suit. Rockefeller became a blueprint. Normally, record handled, but Rockefeller kept ownership. It wasn't surrender, it was a partnership. So when reasonable doubt started moving, when the word spread, and when the industry finally paid attention, Jay-Z was already set. He wasn't just an artist, he was an owner who rapped, and that changes everything. Chapter 3, The Separation. Fast forward to 2004, Rockefeller is massive now. Jay-Z and Diamond Dash built it together as brothers and partners. Then it ends, but not with an explosion or public feud, at least not at first, but with a quiet and calculated separation. Publicly, it's a business differences, creative direction, the usual corporate language, but privately, it's something else. Damon is loud, flashy, and his moves are based on instinct and emotion. He's the energy, the hype man, and the fake. But Jay-Z is the opposite. Quiet, calculated every move, plan 3 steps ahead, maybe 4. And here is what matters. When the split happens, Jay-Z doesn't just leave. He orchestrates it so that he ends up with the masters, with the catalog, and with the control. Why Damon gets a payout and memories. But if you listen closely to what he says, you realize something. He never saw it coming. But Jay-Z had been positioning for the AZ before Damon even knew there would be one. That's the pattern. He doesn't react to conflict. He structures his relationship so that if conflict comes, and it always does eventually, he's already won. Chapter 4, The Blueprints. In 2004, Rockefeller is sold to Def Jam. Jay-Z becomes president of the label. After that comes Tidal, the cannabis company, the art collection worth hundreds of millions, and the sports agency. On the surface, it looks like scattered success, but it isn't. Every move follows the same blueprint. Jay-Z enters a space and studies how it really works. He looks past the titles and the hype and finds where the real power sits. Then he shifts his position. He stops playing the game and becomes part of what runs it. When he bought into the Brooklyn Nets, it wasn't about owning a team, it was about assets. He was in the room when Arena was planned, when the team moved to Brooklyn, when major deals were made, and when the value peak he sold. But he didn't just walk away with money, he left with relationships, knowledge, and a clear view of how power works behind closed doors. That's what people misunderstand about Jay-Z's business move. He isn't just chasing profit, he's chasing options. Every move gives him another doorway into influence. When he launched Tidal, people thought it was about beating Spotify, but it wasn't. It was about artist relationships, about being an alternative when artists feel boxed in. Tidal doesn't need to win, you just need to exist, because the presence of an alternative creates leverage. And here is the psychological core of it all. Jay-Z doesn't trust momentum. Even when things are going well, he plans for the exit, so he builds redundancy in everything. Multiple income streams, multiple power bases, and multiple identities. If one fails, the others hold. Even his private life follows this rule. His relationship with Beyonce stayed quiet for years. Chapter 5, Your Move. Applying the blueprints. So you've seen how Jay-Z thinks. Now here's the real question. What does this mean for you? First, stop trading time for money and start building assets. Jay-Z didn't just want to be the best rapper on someone else's label. He wanted to own the label. For you, that might mean instead of just freelancing, build an agency. Instead of just working, negotiate for equity and ask yourself, am I just performing or am I building something I own? Second, invest in what you actually know. Jay-Z bought into champagne, sports team, streaming services, things he understood from the inside. You don't need millions to apply this. You know your industry, your communities, and your generation's habits. That's your edge. Invest there first. Third, own your distribution. For you, this means your audience, your platform, and your direct line to people. Build that email list, grow that following, create that personal brand, because when you own the relationship with your audience, you own your future. Then the last thing I can say, play the long game with your reputation. Every move Jay-Z made built credibility. He never burned bridges for short-term wins. Your reputation is your currency. Protect it like he did. This blueprint isn't complicated. It's just thinking like an owner, not an employee. It's patience plus precision. That's the psychology behind success.